Good morning, guys. Shall we get straight into it? It's Saturday morning, and look what's happened here. Thermalite blocks, plaster. Plaster's not on the thermalite blocks. It used to be, but it fell off. This is not an unusual occurrence. Thermalite blocks are very high suction. So the history on this particular room here, it's an extension to the rest of the house, so it was done separately. So as you can see, they've used thermalite blocks, and I'm thinking, because the guy here has been here for 20 years and it was done before he got here, so I'm thinking this product, because it is quite soft look, I think that's possibly browning. And what they may have done, or may not have done, who knows, is probably just used water or something to kill the suction of these blocks and then gone over them. Maybe they didn't, and that's why it's blown as bad as it has. There's a few areas around the rest of the room where it's gone, but apparently this one has really gone. So the customer has got it all off. You can see down here where it's actually come away, but this is actually quite solid there, because the skirt is holding it on. And we're doing the minimal to repair this. This is why he's left around the edges where it's a bit more secure, and the coving has got it quite secure. Even though it's away, there's a little bit of bounce in there, tiny little bit, but we're going to get some solution in there with PVA. A little bit of bounce in there as well, but when we get our new plaster up there, that will start holding that still. So where we've got these lips all the way around, it actually makes it quite a bit easier. We haven't had to take the skirting off, we haven't had to take the coving off or anything like that. And if you are a DIY guy, it's the sort of thing you might be able to tackle, because if you've got a rule which is good enough or long enough to span the distance, so here's our levels that we need to come to. So we've got a guide there, we've got our datums, which are going to help us right out. If this was taken right back to the coving, right back to, and the skirting was still on, it's going to be very difficult to come out and match that exact level, unless we had it all off, and then I can just get on and create a brand new level where the plaster comes out to. It is quite thick, to be honest with you. You see? But looking at it, I think they might have done it, because I'm not sure if it's coming through on the camera, but I can see there is quite a bit of deviation. I haven't got my level out or anything, but I kind of feel this bit of wall here is bellowing out a little bit. So what are we going to do? Well, we are going to use a product called hardwall, thistle hardwall, to fill this gap in. It's quite a difficult one to guess, really. It is pretty deep, and of course we've got to match that depth. Now hardwall is a better product than browning, they don't make that anymore. Hardwall is designed for high suction backgrounds, and this is a high suction background. In fact, it's too high. In my experience, even hardwall will struggle to stick to this. It will suck the moisture out of the plaster too quickly, and it will cause a reaction, and the plaster will contract too quickly, and it will start stress cracking all over the place, and we will have adhesion issues. So what we are going to do is start controlling this suction rate, and we're going to use good old-fashioned PVA. There's all sorts of other ones you could use, but I don't want to kill all the suction. SBR is a little bit too efficient at killing suction for my liking, and hardwall does like a little bit of suction, although it will be fine if you are using PVA, because it re-emulsifies. So first things first, what I'm going to do is get my PVA tub out and start dousing this up and getting that PVA watered down a little bit so it really soaks in. Now we've got carpet down, we've got, it's a messy job in a house, okay, so we're not in a building site here. So dousing this all up with water and everything, the water's going to come down the wall, get into the carpet, etc., and it's not really going to be a viable option. Plus as well, the water, it will stay wet for a while, probably long enough for you to get your plaster on there, but it's going to evaporate again. It's going to evaporate really quickly, and you've got to sort of like get the water on and go straight over it with the plaster before it starts evaporating out of there. So with PVA, what's going to happen is we're going to get the PVA is going to sort of like get drawn in, and then we can leave that for as long as we like, really. We can leave it all day, we can leave it till tomorrow. Because once that PVA's gone off and gone in there, that suction has been reduced permanently, okay? It's not going to evaporate out. So that's what we're going to do. Get my PVA out and get on. The other issue we got in here, we got to get quite a bit of material in here to cover that. I mean, looking at it, what, 4 bags maybe? I don't really want to get that wrong, although there is a Travis around the corner, but Travis do charge quite a bit more money for their plaster than some other places that I normally frequent. So it's not like we can knock up a bucket of hardwall, 2 bags, whatever, 3 bags, and then drag that in. It's going to be too heavy. So we need to get the stuff, need to get the buckets in here, need to get the material in here, and we actually need to mix up in here. So what we need to do is really kind of like try and keep the dust down, etc. Cleanliness. Cleanliness is the most noble of all virtues, so I've heard. Okay, right, let's get some PVA going. Okay, so here's my PVA tub with PVA ready to rock and roll in there. It's a little bit smelly because it's been in there a little while, had some time off, and the temperature has been up. So it's caused the water in here to go a little bit stagnant, but don't worry, it will be fine. I'll just carry up and get this used up and get some fresh stuff in there sooner rather than later. Now normally I'll put this on a pole, but like I say, we're very limited on space here, so looks like I'm just going to have to roll it on with my hand. Good way to start is down the bottom and you create a little wave. So we're using a fluffy roller, so it's actually getting right into all the nooks and crannies, which is what we want. We're also going to come onto this painted surface as well, because we're going to skim the whole wall. We're going to patch up with hardwall, and then we're going to skim the whole thing. So later on we're going to have a problem again, or not so much a problem, and we can deal with it. But this is going to be very low suction. This is going to be quite high suction, and they're going to be, when we put the top coat on the multi-finish, it's going to affect that. This is going to be pulling in a lot slower than this, so we probably might have to PVA it again just to try and level up the suction rates when we do actually come to set it. Okay, you may have noticed I also have this little brush in here, as well as the fluffy roller, and that's great for doing things like this where the roller struggles to get. Like I say, we want to really get in and try and glue this surface back together. See, it's filling the gap there a little bit. Of course, also, you know, of course, places like caving where we can get right in nice and tight. So we've got PVA over everything, and this blockwork has dried and pulled in immediately. That PVA has gone. I've gone all around the edges, as you can see, and I've also come down these sides with PVA as well. Now this painted surface already has no suction in it at all, really. So we only need to PVA this once. I'm going to give this another coat of PVA because of the speed that first coat pulled in. So I want that PVA to kind of like be hanging around maybe 5-10 minutes before I'm happy that we've got an ideal sort of suction. So yeah, I'm just going to do that. Incidentally, I have worked on this property before, and if you're regular to the channel, you will know I've spoken about one of my old masters, my old plaster master, Skippy, was his nickname for one reason that I won't go into now. But he moved to Australia, no link to the name, about 20 years ago, and I worked on this house with him before he went to Australia, when I was just a wee young whippersnapper. Anyway, I don't really have contact to Skippy anymore other than comments. He goes, he watches the channel. So Skippy now is kind of like a Qui-Gon Jinn coming to me from the other side with little messages every now and again. So yeah, Skippy, we're in Minzy's house. Hey, so the blockwork now, I've just given a second coat with my roller, and the coverage was much further because that first coat of PVA has just started to do its job. And this second coat now, as you can see, this is where I started. It's still wet inside the grooves of the thermalite, so it's hanging around a little bit, which is a very, very good indication that we've got that suction rate down to an ideal rate. It's probably, when you're doing something like this, it is quite an important thing to understand, have experience of your suction rates and stuff like that, because that really can make a difference between whether something sticks or doesn't stick. Yeah, an inexperienced DIYer might not have the idea to do stuff like that, or have the experience to gauge how much suction is on there. So yeah, I hope this video helps that out. Okay, so now that is all sealed up, we can get rid of that PVA and get that tub out of here, because as I said before, very limited on space in here. So I've just got my rule, feather edge rule, you can see. Now some people say use it this way, some people say you use it this way. I always use it this way, and it doesn't really matter. So now we're at a point where it goes all Raiders of the Lost Ark, and we need to judge like Indiana Jones does at the beginning when he rubs his chin and tries to guess the weight of the idol with a bag of sand. This is what we need to guess for how many bags of hardwall we're going to need. And like I say, it is quite deep. Look at that. See, my rule's not quite long enough, but don't worry, that is really deep. So there's no point in measuring this hole and thinking, oh yeah, well at 10 mil thick it should cover so many meters, because this depth is not 10 mil. In fact, it's like double that. It's going to take a lot of material. I'm thinking 4-5 bags. Stuff's not cheap. It's always like 20 quid a bag. You don't really want to be off, you want to get it bang on, but I think 5 bags would be comfortable. 4 bags might be a bit. Only time will tell. Okay, so we are pretty much ready to go. We've got our drill. It's not ideal. We're going to be mixing up in this big tub, this big Gorilla tub. We should be able to get a good couple of bags in there. I've got 2 regular sized builder buckets of water in there, and I've got a bucket and a half there ready to rock and roll. We're going to keep topping it up, water and powder, so we got the bucket full. The Walt battery mixer, it will just about do this. You might, if you're doing this all day long, then this isn't going to stand up. You're going to need something a little bit more meaty. Got my hook, got my trowel, just a 13-inch for this one. Got an old brush, and for cleaning things off, hardwall and stuff like that, you do want an old brush. You don't want a nice new brush because it will destroy it. Got a rule over there, leaning up, ready to rock and roll. And we've got our bags of hardwall. So let's get that in there and then get that out of there and on there. Mixer. Let's have a look. Yummy. Right, let's get it on there. Okay, a lot of people will argue the correct way is to work towards what you've already done. So if you're right-handed and you're skimming and you're not really putting any depth on, you'll work from this side to this side. But what we're doing, we're going to work from this side to this side. I find it's easier to regulate the depth, and you're always working into an area that you've already laid onto, so you tend to drop less. If you keep coming this way, you won't be able to regulate the depth because it keeps thinning out to nothing, and you start again. Keep coming this way, you're kind of flattening in, you're pushing it into the grooves. It's really supposed to be the way to do it. But you don't have to if you don't want to. Right, with this initial coat, we are just going to get across the wall. We're not going to worry about coming right out to the depth at the moment. I'm looking to knock up and put a second coat on it. So look, it's really hot. My hands are really sweaty. It's difficult to hold the trowel. Now we've got that left in the bucket, which is a couple of hardwalls maybe, and we've managed to get across there. This is where we started. Now, oh, am I out of condition? Don't let sweat on me. Yeah, the temperature's up again, really warm. It's going to be like 30 degrees again, somewhere near that. Right, that was hard work because I knocked it up quite stiff, and because it's going to be quite thick, I knocked it up quite stiff in the first place on purpose, so that we can get a second coat on it sooner rather than later. I'm just going to go across this and check it with my rule for level, make sure it's all behind, and then we're probably going to knock into this. So we're going to have some fresh water and plaster, mix it all into that, because one of the problems with hardwall is it does take quite a long time to go off to pick up before you can get on it and set over the top of it. So we want to reduce the amount of time that we're sitting around waiting for this to pick up as much as possible, and by knocking up into old material, it's going to speed the process up. Okay, I drew some lines in there just with the edge of my trowel like so, in an effort to create a bit of key, because we're going to put a second coat on this, and I want the two coats to properly merge together. So even though this is still quite wet, it is pulling in a bit, so we have got a bit of suction from those thermite blocks, but we need to get some more material in there, and that's going to start picking up. We'd probably be okay, to be honest, if we put a second coat straight on there, because both the coats are done very, very quick succession, so there's a lot of water there that's going to bind in. But just for a little bit of extra precaution, when we put this new coat on, it's going to push into this first coat in areas, and it's going to actually physically grab onto there as well as stick. So maybe a bit overkill for what we're doing today, but it certainly won't hurt things. Okay, we did it again. Knocked up another load of hardwall. This time just a bag and a half. Because judging by what 2 bags did to that, I don't think we're going to need another 2 bags to bring it out to the depth we need. So this time we're going to go over it again in exactly the same manner, but this time we're going to bring it out to the level it needs to be, and hopefully we've knocked up enough to get across there. There we go. I'm quite happy with that. It's up to level. Still very wet, as you can see. It's very deep. It's quite deep, you can see. It's all the way from there, so you know, that's the depth of it to the edge of the trowel. Okay, now there's nothing we can really do with this. We've got the basic shape, we've got it quite flat. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Now, I didn't check it, but well, what happened was, or what I noticed, and I did notice that the brickwork was out. Anyway, so I've put on a regular amount, regulated depth over the whole lot, even though I knew, but then you might see me from the video there ruling this off quite a bit, because this bit was bellying out, and so basically what I had to do, when I run the rule off, this was out really far, and that bit over there was in really deep, so I've had to like rule that off, take that off, put it back in the bucket. So literally I've just taken it from there and put it over there and run the rule over it, and I'm quite happy. But remember, we've got the edges on, so we're kind of regulated exactly what we can do because of the edges that are on, and that looks like it's tipping out to me a little bit up there. So all we can do in this situation is just do the best we can, and I believe we've done that. Phew, Wycliffe, honey, I'm sweating like a PRG. Do you remember that advert, Wycliffe? I can't remember what they were advertising. It was Wycliffe the singer. What did he sing, was it? Someone please call 911. Tell them I've been shut down with a bullet through my soul. That's the one? Does that Wycliffe? I can't remember. Look it up. If you've never heard of it before, I'm sure there is the advert on YouTube somewhere. Wycliffe. I'm sweating like a PRG. Okay. Devil float. Quite a big one. I'm not sure what the size is. It's one of the biggest ones you can get. Hard plastic one, so it's quite thin. Got these diamonds in it, and we've got these screws that we screw them through, so it just protrudes through the edge there and creates these little grab-on marks, very much similar to what we did with that first coat, creating a little bit of key. Now, obviously, you need to wet your float down, which I have already, but it's so warm, it's drying out already. Just to help it out, I'll just do this little patch here, just for demonstration purposes. A little bit of water, and we're coming around, and we're just buffing up. We're seeing if there's any little holes there. Just buffing up the surface. See, there's a little bit of a hole there. Just collect a little bit up, fill it. So we've got a nice regulated surface for us to be able to sit onto. Right, I'm going to do that for the whole wall. Now look, been completely across the whole surface, and I'm quite happy. That's pretty good for me to set. Once it goes hard, still very wet because obviously we've livened up the surface now, rubbing it with that thing. So what we can do now is just, well, actually it's not too bad. We did a good job of judging the suction of those thermalites, because that first coat had picked up quite a bit by the time I put that second coat on. And now I've not given it that much time before I've turned around and put the devil float to it, and some of it was picking up, so the suction is pulling that off. Yeah, pulling it off. It's pulling it off, and it's not going to take too long. If there was no suction on there at all when you use SBR, then we're going to have to let that hardwall go off under its own steam, because there's no suction there, and that will take considerably a longer amount of time. So yeah, the suction is working well for us. So let's get cleared up in here, get all this floating stuff out of here, reevaluate our situation when we get ready to put the top coat on. Ideally, like I say, we need it to go hard. We need it to go as far as possible. Hopefully it won't be too long. Okay, so look, that's the depth of the stuff that came out of there, look. Very, very deep. So once you got there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bags. We did go down and we bought 4 bags of hardwall, and we used 3.5 of them. We've got half a bag left. Okay, we've left it a little while, but it's still not quite ready. But just so I'm not sitting around doing anything, just running dry trowel over, and we're just kind of like laminating, pushing this in. We could let it go a little bit further, but I'm just waiting for it. I'm just going to get this done now. It'll just make it a little bit nicer to set. Okay, that's pulled in quite nicely. I kind of feel we're in a position to start putting some multi-finish on the walls. And the reason I'm always using this, because this is all I can get in this area. You can get the green bags, which is board finish, but Wicks, they just do multi-finish, and that's what I'm used to using. It doesn't go off quite as fast as the green board finish. I'm switching my trowel up to this 20x5 carbon steel trowel. I'm using this for setting more often than not, and towards the end I switch over to one of these stainless steel Rafina 2 flexi trowels. Okay, I think I'm going to mix up a bag and start getting the first coat on. Okay, that's about a bag. I tend to knock up multi quite stiff anyway, and I've knocked it up a little bit stiffer, even more than I normally do. So I want it to be quite strong on here and hold itself together quite nicely, because I might want to see if I can lay this down sooner rather than later. So yeah, nice strong coat of plaster over this now. Getting quite a nice bit of green suction out of that. I haven't gone over such a large patch of hardwall for quite some time, and that was actually quite satisfying. I kind of forgot what it was like. Look, that's what it's gone on like. I haven't turned back the flattener in. I kind of flatten in as I go with that larger trowel at 20 by 5, and that's the result you can kind of get. And when you've got quite a bit of suction, a bit of green suction like this is exactly what you want, because you can't fly across it with a little trowel and go, what are we doing, whack across and leave all the trowel marks in there, because it draws in far too quick, you know. And when you come back to try and flatten that in, you're going to have a hell of a job trying to get that sorted out. So I think this is where probably I've picked this up, because I do always flatten in as I go along. I think, thinking about it now, going back and having the experience of going over hardwall where there's really high suction like that, high green suction, okay, yeah, you can't leave that wall messy, because you haven't got time to get across the wall and come back and sort it out, because it's going on you. And I still do that now with board work, so yeah, that's why I'm using those larger trails. I'm flattening in as I go along. It might be slower to put it on, but it makes it so much faster now. Putting a second coat on this is going to be a doddle. It's going to be a walk in the park. I don't have to turn back to flatten it in. I just can get the second coat on it right now, and I'm going to do that, I think. And I'm going to use the same material. I've got that left in there. I'm going to put that across it, and we're going to be done with putting on, I think. Look at that. All I've done, it's hard to see in this light, I know, but all I've done is lay that on and flatten as I went. And then I've used the same gear and I've put the second coat on. Look at the condition it's in. I totally forgot how nice it is to set decent floating, fresh, decent floating. The only thing that's causing a bit of an issue is the edges there, which were the painted side, so we're not getting as near as much suction on that as well. So, but we'll be able to deal with that, that's fine. But yeah, it's really gone in, really nice. It's really pulling in. I'll be able to take a wet brush to this really soon. Bring back floating and setting. I guess it's more like a case of, you know, when you've got big building sites and stuff, they want a quick turnaround. And when you've got floating and setting, there's a lot of water there going into the room. So I think that's probably why, you know, so much of it is now just straight onto board work. It's dot and dabbed in board work, and they, you know, you skim it, it's dried in half the time. They can get around, they can paint it. It's a quick turnaround. They're flipping burgers. Doing this, I haven't done this for a while. Yeah, it's really quite enjoyable. And there's not that many people that can really do it, I think. Not, you know, compared to the guys that skim board work all day long. Now that was nice to trowel up. Like I say, I forgot how nice it is to go over fresh hardwall, fresh floating. That was nice, I enjoyed that. Yeah, bring it back. I forgot how much quicker it is as well. Got out of the van, 8 o'clock this morning. 20 to 2 in the afternoon, we're done. Another thing that was instilled into me when I was a labourer, waste. That's how much waste plaster is from the hardwall. That is just empty bags. Bit of tape that went on the skirting board. You can tape the dust sheets up to the skirting board so they can pull away. But that's it, out of all that, that's all the waste we've got. So let's say it's a haulful. Suddenly, like magic, he appears. It's Sunday morning and we are just finishing some editing. I stayed in last night with my wife and we was babysitting for the grandchild. He's only just 1 year old and he stayed over last night whilst his parents were out celebrating a birthday themselves, and we're going to go and see them a little bit later this afternoon for a barbecue. So yeah, that was we did that yesterday, that job's Saturday. Yeah, it was alright. Yeah, I have to say I really enjoyed that floating setting. It was yeah, I completely forgot how nice it is to go over fresh floating like that. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, I did look up that Wycliffe, W-Y-C-L-E-F, Wycliffe. Yeah, he did. It was an advert for Virgin telephones, and he did 2 adverts, and he got duped into marrying this woman, signing an autograph, and it was the punchline was "Be careful what you sign," and it was about phone contracts. So there's 2 on there. There's 2 adverts, and they are on YouTube. And he did sing that song. So yeah, with that, let's just wrap this up, shall we? Yeah, thanks for watching. It's gone mad on Facebook recently. Just did the video previous where the ceiling, Arctic ceiling, had a failure patch on it. That video's gone down very well. Everybody's commenting on that one with stories of their own traumatic experiences of going over Arctics. You know, more often than not, it's all right, but every now and again you will get caught out, and I got caught out with a little patch there. But don't worry, we did manage to save the day. If you're interested in seeing that, then please do have a look at the video. Yeah, Facebook, there's a group there, Plaster Master Smurf 74. We've got quite a lot of people on there now. There's no trolls or anything like that, there's no bad language or anything, and it's completely free if you're looking for some advice. There's a group chat going on, there's me and loads of other plasterers on there just waiting to give you some good advice if you're a DIY guy and you need some help. You know, put some pictures up of the job that you got to do, whatever. It's doing really well. I'm quite proud of that little group. It's doing a really good job. So yeah, have a look at that, and also of course I'm here if you want to support the channel. The subscribe button, just hit the subscribe button. That really helps me out. I'll look at the analytics. I don't look at the analytics so much anymore, but the amount of returning viewers I get, so that means people are like typing it in, you know, typing in Master Smurf 74 plastering, or just waiting for it to come up on notifications. Yeah, hit that subscribe button. It really flies me up the algorithm, and you know, it just helps me out on YouTube basically. Right guys, let's wrap it up. See you on the next video. Where am I? I am doing a bathroom tomorrow. I haven't seen it yet, and then I've got another room towards the middle of the week, and there's something else coming up. I don't know. I'm always just laying the track in front of me. So, right, I'll catch you next week with some more videos. Take it easy.